Just started right away. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear.
Very
Yes.
good. Very good. Just let me just change something here. Okay, that's good. I will share the PowerPoint. You can see my screen and you can hear me now, right?
Yes. Yes.
You can start right away. Sorry for the delay. I got stuck. You know what happens in Madhva? He does not even given a preamble that much. Immediately he goes off into a wild logical attack on Advaita. So that's what happened in this section. So I could not even move beyond the logic section because I want, first of all of you to understand that logic against Advaita. And also, whenever you hit logic, even for anybody reading it, it becomes like, hard to figure out. Well, please mute yourself. So maybe mommy or somebody else has not muted. Please mute yourself. It's on record right now, I think. So what happens is logic is complicated, right? Because it's sequential, and sometimes, why is he saying this? I don't understand. This often happens. So I got stuck in that loop. Hopefully, I will clear all the doubts I have had. Let's go further. Okay, this is in the last class itself. Okay, we were doing Gita Tatparya 514 to 517. So in the last sentence he says, Anyathaasti Brahma ityadinam shabdanam api paryayatvaadayo doshaha. You will see how the Bhashya or the Gita Tatparya is pretty dense here. He just says one sentence. There's a lot of meaning behind it. Okay. For example, what Advaita says is, Asti Brahmeti Chet Veda is a Upanishad sentence, Taittiriya Upanishad. Asti Brahma iti Chet Veda. All it says is Brahma, Asti Brahma, just take Asti Brahma. Brahman exists. That's what. Asti means existence. Brahman is existent. That's what it means. What happens is existence an attribute? Advaita cannot accept an attribute on Brahman, right? Agreed, right? Advaita will not accept any attributes of Brahman. Is that agreed?
True. Yes.
Okay, then Asti means, what does this Asti mean? Asti means existence. In Sanskrit, Asti, this is there. Computer Asti. Mama Samipe, computer Asti means I have a computer here. Right? So, how do we understand this Asti is the question Madhvācārya poses. If you say Asti is an attribute of Brahman, existence is an attribute of Brahman, you yourself will not agree that. Then what is this Asti pada in Vedas? What do you say about this Asti? No. Asti and Brahma are synonyms. If they say, that is Advaitin say, Asti means also Brahma, Brahma is also Brahma. So Asti basically emphasizes that Brahma and Asti are same. If you say that, that is also wrong. Because you cannot say Brahma, Brahma 2 times, right? What does it mean? A sentence is Brahma, 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 Brahma. If you say many times, that is a wrong sentence. So Asti should have some other, first of all, Asti is made of a different Sanskrit word, right? Brahma is a different Brihu Upachaye, The verb root of Brahma is brih. Asti is some other root there, right? Asti is tahasanti, asi is tahastaha, asmi swahasmaha. That is the conjugation of asti. And there is a dhatu there, which I don't know. Okay, I have to check my Sanskrit. Asti dhatu is what? Asti dhatu or ati dhatu? I'm not sure. What is the asti dhatu? I don't know. I forgot.
Asidhatu.
Oh, as dhatu. Think as. As dhatu is different from brih dhatu, right? In Sanskrit, there are two different words. How would you say they are synonyms? So Madhvācārya argues they cannot be synonyms. And you cannot even say Asti Brahma separately, meaning the same thing twice. That becomes repetitive error, and Vedas cannot be blamed of being just repetitions, as if the Vedic Rishi has stammering problem or something. What is this? Hence, even statements of Upanishad will become the words of a mad person, if you say these kind of explanations. Vyāvṛttya visheshascha vyāvṛtta vishesha nibandhana eva. I had a problem understanding his Sanskrit. Madhvācārya is very tough. He does not want to waste your time or his time. He will just say small sentences. But obviously, if an uneducated person like me goes and reads Madhva, I will have to spend a lot of time educating myself first before understanding his short sentences.
What is that sentence? Will you please repeat?
This sentence is in the slide itself. Vyāvṛttya visheshascha vyāvṛtta vishesha nibandhana eva. Okay. So what it means is I had to go.
No. Vyāvṛtt avisheshascha. That is.
Vyāvṛttya vishesha. I will tell you what that is. We'll come to that in a minute. Okay. If you say Asti is vyāvṛtti, that means the term Asti here, Asti Brahmeti Chet Veda, in that the Asti separates. Vyāvṛtti means Brahman is different from all else. So Asti refers to differentiating Brahman from everything else. That is the meaning of Asti. One you can say. It is different from those. That means,
is true.
That is mean Asti means asad vyāvṛtti, they say. Asti means it is not existence. It is not a positive attribute that it is existence. It is something different from non-existing. Asat vyāvṛtti. That means Asti means not existence, but it is different from non-existence. So Brahman is different from non-existence. So that is the vyāvṛtti indicated here, is one of the standard dialogues of Advaita. And Advaita says, because I am saying it in a negative way, that is not an attribute. Then the same things Advaita repeats in the other sentence of Vedas. Brahman is defined by a very powerful statement called Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma Yo Veda Nihitam Guhayam. So the Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma is said. So the first fundamental problem is, would you take Satyam Jnanam Anantam as adjectives, attributes of Brahman? So what does the Satyam Jnanam Anantam mean? Question comes up, right? Satya does not mean truth or anything like that. Sat is existence. Satya can be truth. So Satya is asat vyāvṛtti. Here Satyam is also something not other than non-existence. Satya, asat is existence, non-existence. We can take it that way. Satya is that which is different from that which does not exist. So we can take it that way. Advaita says, even for Satya, we can take it that way. If you say Satya is other than those that are asatya, still you have to agree that vyāvṛtti cannot happen in Brahman, who has no attributes whatsoever. How can you separate something from Brahman when Brahman does not have any attributes? See, when you have some other object, saying a tree has this object, growth, tree grows from a tree, seed, tree absorbs water from the roots. There are a lot of nature of tree, right? They are attributes of tree. How does something is different from this still have to have attributes? If Brahman is not accepted to have any attributes, you cannot separate it out from anything else. And those words such as Asti, Satya, and so on will become unnecessary. Why would you want to say Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma? When you say Jnanam is Ajnana vyāvṛtti, that which is other than not knowledge. Right? And Anantam is that which is other than limited. If you want to say this, you might as well get rid of these three words and say Brahma, Brahma, Brahma. That's it. Only Brahman, once, not even twice. So what Madhvācārya says is, any sentence in the Vedas does not cannot be understood without accepting that Brahman has attributes. Brahman should have attributes.
Can I tell you something what I feel like telling?
Okay.
Am I permitted?
Sure, go ahead.
Asti Brahma, if you have to say.
You're not facing your
you should show.
speaker.
You should show.
I didn't complete it, please. I didn't hear properly. Hello?
When you say Asti Brahma, if it should be true, then you have to say, you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I'm telling you, I can hear you.
Yes. If you want to say Brahma Asti, then you should show a place where Brahma is Nasti. You have to say, you should show a place where there is no Brahman. But that statement cannot be done at all. Did you understand that?
Then you cannot not also say so Brahman Asti cannot be made, right?
Either way, because Brahman is there everywhere. There is no place where there is no place where you can show Brahman is not there.
Okay, 1 second. You need to understand. First, you have to define what is Asti. Is Asti existence or not?
Yes.
If you
it says Asti means existence only. Brahma exists.
The existence becomes an attribute of Brahman, right?
Yes, it should be an attribute.
Then Advaita doesn't accept with any attributes.
That is what I want to tell. Advaita doesn't accept.
So what Madhvācārya is trying to say is, are you trying to derive Advaita concept using the statements of the Upanishads? If
not possible.
You have to accept attribute Brahman with attributes to understand the text of the Vedas.
Then it becomes Vishesha, Savishesha.
Yeah. And Vishesha is Nirvishesha, right? Nirvishesha, Shuddha, Buddha, Mukta.
You cannot establish Nirvishesha.
That is the problem. The words of the Upanishads cannot establish the meaning you are trying to derive. That is the summary of what Madhvācārya is trying to say. Unfortunately, Madhvācārya has given only 2 sentences here. Anyatha asti brahma ityadinam shabdanam api paryayatvadeyo doshaha vyāvṛtti vishesha nibandhana eva. Look at this sentence, is so cryptic and small. That is why it becomes problematic to understand Madhubhasha.
It is very crisp.
Yeah. So it is like almost sutra style.
Yes.
Then
one more question.
Yeah, Shalunga. What's that? What is it? Can't hear you. Please tell.
Hello.
Yeah, please say. We are hearing you. Tell me.
Yeah. What I'm trying to tell is, if they say Asti is actually, it is other than non-existence. Is it something, doesn't it imply that if we are trying to tell it in a negative way, it will point to a positive entity only, right? If you say something is not bad, means it has to be good.
Exactly. See, the thing is, you are indirectly accepting an attribute, even if you say it in negative. True. Adiji, say what you want.
That's what I wanted to express.
True.
It is the same idea.
Same idea.
Swami, I want to share how Advaita would be thinking about this. But then, are they trying to establish Brahman as an object?
See, they don't accept Brahman as an object also. See, if you Brahman, if they accept as an object, if I am the knower and if I'm a lucky knower, I can know Brahman, right? That is not at all acceptable to Advaita. A Brahman can never be known as an object of anybody's knowledge.
So that's why they don't want to attribute a characteristic to it, right? An attribute to it. Like and there is no other way of talking about something that's not an object. How do you say it in words then? If something is not an object.
Ahameva, right? The thing is subjectively they can say, right? Subject.
But words don't denote that, no? You can possibly try to talk around it. You cannot talk about it if it's not an object.
True. It cannot. So the words cannot denote what they're talking about, obviously.
So that's what they're saying all along, that it cannot be described. That's why they're saying this, right?
Okay. The thing is, what happens is, if cannot be described, then the Vedas would be found wrong if Vedas tries to describe it, saying Asti Brahmeti Chet Veda, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, and all those things will become an erroneous way of saying it, right?
No, but there is no other way for them to point out to something so different from the objects. That's why they say that Shastra Unitvat, right? Only Shastras can point you towards this.
Okay, you have a point. So this can be understood through only Lakshana, they say. That means no words of the Vedas can indicate or even show the Brahman. Indirectly, we know that it is Brahman. That's all. Right? You're right.
Tatastha Lakshana, right?
Tatastha Lakshana, exactly. So the thing is, they were, what do you call, I don't remember the exact words of it. The thing is, the bird sitting on the roof, that is the Devatatta's home, they say, right? They're only describing the bird sitting on the roof only, right? That's all. They cannot say much about Devata or Shaka Chandra Nyaya, right? That is, I can explain, oh, moon is the one which is actually behind this particular branch of this tree or something like that. So I'm explaining the branch and tree, not the moon. So all these are only Tatastha Lakshanas. So that is true. But that is why they establish in the Janmadhyase Yataha, all these things are Tatastha Lakshanas for Advaita. So,
another argument against what Madhvācārya is saying here is that if he's claiming that by the definition how Advaita puts it, you cannot know Brahman. Even if somebody describes what Brahman is, you can still not know it. Because this kind of knowing is not a conceptual knowing anyway. So what happens if they say that you cannot describe Brahman, so it's a dosha. But if you describe Brahman for 2 hours, you can still not know what Brahman is.
True. Agreed.
So
agreed. See, you have to understand, we have only looked at one aspect of Madhvācārya's attack, right?
Based on only what we have talked about.
So we are only talked about 2 sentences. He continues here, right? We will see what he is completely saying. See, obviously, his whole attack will not be restricted to 2 or 3 verses of Gita. You have to entirely finish the Gita. Then only his attack will come. Sometimes it is not even hidden in Gita. It may be in the Brahma Sutra somewhere or some Upanishad mantra somewhere. So, getting the perfect view of Madhvācārya in a quick moment is very difficult, right?
Yeah, I just wanted to be Advaita advocate for a bit.
No problem. Feel free. It is a free country. You can be whatever you want. Okay. अन्यथा वैयर्थ्यमेव स्यात् न च सर्वशब्द अवाच्यस्य लक्ष्यत्वम्. See, if Advaitin, see, he's trying to put blockade to any logic Advaita can come up. If you come here, I'm going to block you here. If you come here, I'm going to block you here. That is the way he is trying to build his logic, right? He continues, see, any word, Brahman can never be denoted by a word. If you say, न च सर्वप्रमाण अगोचरमस्ति इत्यत्र किञ्चिन्मानम्. It cannot be said that Brahman is not knowable using any valid means of knowledge. Hold on a second. I need to figure out if I have written it right. 1 second. So the thing is, what this means is, what do you call? See, this logic continues. So, let me tell you how. First thing is, the first sentence says, no word can explain or denote Brahman. Suppose you say. And see, you can still not say Brahman is not knowable using any Pramāṇa. Brahman is not Pramāṇa gochara. Suppose you say. That is also not valid. Why? Let's go further. नास्तित्वं तु सप्तम रसादिवद दर्शनात् सिद्ध्यति. Okay. Here is a little bit complicated logic. That's why I want to be a little slow. See, suppose we say food can have 6 kinds of tastes. What is the six tastes? Sweet is madhura, sour is amla, salty is lavana, pungent is katu, bitter is tikta, and astringent is kashaya. Kashaya means in Tamil they say kashipu, right? I think that is kashipu. I never knew the word astringent means kashipu. Kahi in Kannada. Okay. I don't know the difference between bitter and kahi. Okay. So, whatever may be, this is the standard 6 types of tastes of food. There is no 7th taste. Hence, there can never be a 7th taste for food. Similarly, since we cannot find words to describe Brahman, it does not exist. Because there is no 7th taste, similarly, Brahman doesn't exist because the words which we have cannot define Brahman. Then it doesn't matter whatever word. It cannot be defined or it cannot be denoted. Then Brahman doesn't exist. We automatically can, since there is no 7th taste, we can say Brahman also does not exist. So do you agree Brahman does not exist? No, you say Brahman exists. So just because words cannot describe it, you cannot agree that Brahman does not exist. You will not accept it, right? That is well known. Advaita says Brahman exists. They accept it, but they only say it does not have any attributes. Let's see how the Madhvācārya takes it further. Okay, the logic is building with simple one-liners. Okay, now the subject changes here. I want to just go back to the subject. So what he is saying is, when the words, you run out of words to describe Brahman, you cannot say Brahman does not exist just because you ran out of words. Just like there is no 7th taste means you cannot use this logic to disprove Brahman, which is not acceptable to you. That's what he is saying. So, in essence, what he is saying is Brahman Pramāṇa gochara or not? You have to say Brahman is Pramāṇa gochara. Pramāṇa gochara is, pratyaksha, that is direct perception, anumana, inference, or shabda, which is scriptures. You have to say Brahman is knowable through any of these means. If you don't accept it, why don't you say Brahman doesn't exist? You won't say that. then how do you agree Brahman exists? This is the question he's trying to pose on the Advaitins. I'm sure Advaitins will come up with some answer, but I'm just giving you the background here.
That is why they say anirvachaniya.
He will say, they will say anirvachaniya.
Swami,
Saprakashatvam cha na amanam siddhyati. This is the second logic he's trying to say. Brahman is Swaprakasha, is acceptable to pretty much all. Advaita also accept Brahman is Swaprakasha. You don't need another light to show Brahman. Brahman is known directly. That means self-known. For any other third object, you need to light and splash a light on that object and say, oh, I can see the object. Brahman doesn't need any other light. Brahman is Swaprakasha. So nothing is needed to show a luminant entity. You cannot say this either. Advaitin, you cannot say this. That's what Madhvācārya says. Why? Swayam prakashatvam cha tato atiriktam ched visheshangikaraha. If you say Swayam prakashatva is an attribute of Brahman, then you are accepting an attribute. Nachet tadeva pramāṇa gocharam. If you say Swayam prakashatvam Brahma, that means you are accepting it is not an attribute. If you don't accept it an attribute, then Brahman becomes knowable through the standard means of testimony knowledge, valid knowledge, which is either the Vedas or the Pratyaksha or Anumana. You have to accept only Vedas because Pratyaksha and Anumana does not get you Brahman. You cannot know Brahman through Pratyaksha or Anumana unless you are a yogi or something like that. So you have to accept a Pramāṇa like Veda has to be accepted as a valid means to know Brahman. Okay, Adiji, what's your question?
Swami, how does self-knowing become attribute?
Self-knowing become what?
Madhvācārya says that if it's a self-knowing entity, then it has some attributes, right?
Yes.
How does that work? Can you please explain?
It will become clear in one or two slides. Okay, we'll come there. So now, either you accept Swayam Prakashatva as an attribute, or Swayam Prakashatva is self-luminance. Self-luminance is an attribute. If you don't accept self-luminance as an attribute, then self-luminance will become a valid word in the Vedas which describe Brahman. You accept that the Brahman is knowable through the Vedas. Okay. Brahman is different from self-luminance. If Brahman is different from self-luminance, you must agree that it is an attribute of Brahman. If you don't agree, then it has to be shown using a Pramāṇa or means of knowledge. It has to be known using a Pramāṇa or a means of knowledge. Known, it's not shown, it has to be known actually. Tat Pramāṇa bhave paraprakashatva matra nirase saprakashatve Pramāṇa abhavat aprakashatvam eva syate. What he is saying, even here it is very terse sentences, okay? If you say nothing other than Brahman can show you Brahman, whether it is Vedas, whether it is matter, whether it is anybody, your uncle, my uncle, doesn't matter who it is. If nothing other than Brahman can show you Brahman, hence if there is no testimony that can state that Brahman is self-luminant, that is, you don't accept Vedas, you don't accept anything, Brahman becomes non-self-luminant, and which also is not acceptable to you. You are telling Brahman is self-luminant, right? So Madhvācārya is trying to bind Advaitin using logic, saying that you can't go here, you can't go here, you can't go here, you can't go here, just to deny his logic, right? Arthataha siddhi rityarthāpatti. Now he comes up in a Pramāṇa called the Arthāpatti. What does Arthāpatti mean? Arthāpatti is, the words don't indicate, but still there is a meaning which you can derive. That is what you call Pino Devadattaha Devana Bhunkte. This is a standard one. Okay, Devadatta is very fat, and one truth, one person says, I know very well, this is true, that Devadatta does not eat during the day at all. And that's a reliable truth statement. We have a second fact. Devadatta is definitely getting fatter and fatter every day. We see it through our own eyes, with our own eyes. Then what should we understand from this? Probably he eats at night. So nowhere you understood that Devadatta eats at night, because the information given to you does not contain that, but you derive it. That is known as Arthāpatti. Okay. So the thing is, so the whole of Vedas and other things, they don't give you information about Brahman at all. They cannot give you description of Brahman or anything, but you can still derive it. Right? Suppose you say, this is how it works. Then he says, then Brahman is known by Pramāṇa, because Arthāpatti is accepted as a valid Pramāṇa. Similar to the Mimamsa school of thought, Advaitins follow and accept Arthāpatti as a distinct and indispensable means of knowledge. They use it to establish some of their core metaphysical doctrines. Right? So, because Advaita accepts a Pramāṇa or a valid means of knowledge, that Arthāpatti is one valid means of knowledge, then Advaitins are forced now to accept that Brahman is a Pramāṇa gochara vastu. Brahman is revealed by a Pramāṇa. Even if you don't accept the Vedas, if you accept Arthāpatti, then you're accepting Pramāṇa gocharatva. So, if you accept Vedas, then Brahman is known through Vedas. And that's a valid source. So, if that is the case, your view that Brahman is Pramāṇa agochara becomes invalid. It is not knowable through any means of knowledge, is not acceptable. Okay. Ubhayata api prameyatvam eva syat. Now he goes further. Okay, he says, by word swaprakasha or self-luminant, actually you mean you don't accept knowability of Brahman's nature. You only accept that Brahman cannot be illuminated by anything else. Okay, this is an important point Madhvācārya brings. Look, swaprakasha means self-luminant in a very simple way, understanding. But actually in Advaitin, what he is saying by swaprakasha means Brahman's nature cannot be known. That's what he's saying as Swaprakasha. So, and in a way, I'm sorry, so Advaitin does not accept the knowability of Brahman's nature. Obviously, Brahman's nature becomes adjective, attribute, so it doesn't work for Advaitin. You only accept that Brahman cannot be illuminated by anything else. So Advaitin's real understanding is Brahman cannot be illuminated by anything else. If Brahman cannot be illuminated by anything else, and Brahman is not known due to self-illumination, right? So then if Brahman is not known even because of self-illumination, then Brahman is never known. It becomes an asiddha vastu. Then you cannot talk about Brahman. Forget about the word Brahman anyway. So, if Brahman is self-luminant and it is knowable, then it becomes an object of knowledge and you don't want that. So either way, however you understand this, you are not validating or establishing Brahman at all in any way. Your logic is flawed. That is the idea of Madhvācārya. See, even here, you look at the terms used by Madhvācārya. Upayatapi prameyatvam eva syate. In both ways, Brahman is always known. Swaprakasha shabdena swamitatva anangikarat paramitatva anangikaracha siddhireva syat. So Brahman is not knowable by himself. Brahman cannot be known by anything else. So that means Brahman doesn't exist for you. The Brahman is not established in your system of thought. This is what Madhvācārya is saying. Okay. Further he continues, prakashe ityuktepi somanyam va kinchit prakashyam vina nadrishta eva bhojanadiva kartri karma virodascha anubhava viruddhaha. What he says is, look, if you say Brahman is not of the form of that which can be illuminated, there is nothing known in this universe which can be illuminated without an object that is illuminated and a light that illuminates it. Everywhere we see, if you see illumination, there is a light source and there is an object. So, what you call, if you say someone eats something, there is some food and there is an eater. He eats it. So you cannot say Brahman is not an object but self-luminant without being an entity. Brahman is an object which can be known. Brahman is self-luminant. If you say there is a conflict, because if Brahman illuminates himself, then that becomes unification of object illuminated and the light also that illuminates it. So this is an Advaita logic. What the Advaita said, look, there is a problem here. We agree. If Brahman is the self-luminant one, he illuminates himself, then the object of illumination and the light source become one. That is never seen. That's not possible. The agent and the object cannot become the same. That is why we have a problem in explanation. That's what Advaita is trying to justify themselves. Then Madhvācārya says, the same entity can be an agent and the action. Let us say, I know myself, I say. I am knowing myself. We have this anubhava. What is wrong with this anubhava? Suppose I say, somebody says, Krishna, we are all going to climb the Mount Everest. Why don't you come? I say, I know myself. I will not come. What does it mean? I know something about myself. This kind of anubhava always exists in our life. If you say it is against experience, that agent and the object of action cannot be the same, that is not true. You say Brahman is Jnana Swarupa, even that does not fit in your system. Jnana Swarupa means it is illuminating. What does it illuminate? It has to illuminate itself or the nature of who that Brahman is, and that is not also acceptable to you. So even Brahman as Swaprakasha or Jnana Swarupa or self-luminant is not justifiable in your theory. Jnanam cha jneyam cha jñātāram cha vina nadrishtam ataha shunyavadat na kaschid visheshaha. So there is nothing in this world which there is where there is no knower, there is no object of knowledge, and there is no jnana or the means of knowledge. If you deny all these, and finally what does Advaita says? There is no knower, there is no object to be known, there is no means of knowledge. If you say that, because Brahman doesn't know anything else. Swatmanam api na janati. Where does this come? Anybody? Shankaracharya says, while explaining a particular Upanishad, Swatmanam api na janati. Where does it come? He doesn't know himself. Do you remember?
Is it in Bhuma Vidya?
Correct. Correct. That is a Narada Sanat Kumara Samvada in Bhuma Vidya. At the end, Shankaracharya boldly states, does Brahman know himself? No, he doesn't know. That means this Madhvācārya is trying to push Advaitin and say, why would you rather not become a Buddhist directly? You are a Shunyavadi. Again, this word Shunyavada is very, very difficult. Shunya doesn't mean total non-existence, but I don't know in what sense Madhvācārya pushes him as oh, you are a Shunyavadi, right? That's a standard dialogue. He doesn't explain it here. So we just leave it. Ato ananta dosha dushtatvat uparamyate. So your whole concept of Advaita has so many flaws. I would rather rest now. Harisvabhavatah karta sarvamanyat tadiritam Atassa kartata tasya na kadachidapi vinishyati. So we have to accept Hari is a Karta. Brahman is actor, agent. This shows it is written in the Paingi Shruti. So I am not trying to say by myself. That's what Madhvācārya says. Do not ever forget that Hari is naturally Karta or the actor or the agent. That Kartritva can never go away. He is always a Karta. He is a Jñātā. He is a Buddha. So this is what Madhvācārya wants to establish. I'm sure you have lots of questions. And we have to look at another section of Madhva Bhashya to find out answers. So since we don't have time to look at where your questions come and where... Okay, Adiji, you go ahead and ask the question anyway.
Sorry, Swami. It's they don't say this, Swami. Advaita doesn't say that there is no knower, no known. They say that it's not knower and known, it's Brahman, right? There is no independent existence of that apart from Brahman. That's what they say, right? They don't say it doesn't exist at all.
No. See, the thing is, in the final stage of realization, in Bhuma Vidya, that's what he says, right? That he cannot know himself. He doesn't know himself. So there is no jnana. See, what Madhvācārya is trying to attack is the triputi. What Advaitins accept is Jñātā, Jñēya, Jñātra, everything becomes one. Right? At the end, you have to accept it. That is a standard Advaita doctrine, right?
Yeah, because he doesn't know himself as an object.
Doesn't matter. He doesn't know himself, period. Because knowing becomes the act of knowing and means of knowing, knowledge and everything comes up. Triputi will come. If there are three triputis, there are three separate triputis, it is in the state of ajnana or avidya or maya. Maya doesn't even exist from the perspective of Brahman. Maya
yes.
only
for the one, only for the one who has realized that there is this knowledge of objects.
Fine. What Madhvācārya is attacking is what you call realization states have been explained in the Vedas. That doesn't fit in with your idea of Jnana, Jñēya, Jñātra, Aikya. That's what he's saying. And if it happens, it becomes Shunyavada according to him.
No, but what Madhvācārya is saying is a little bit out of context from what Advaita is saying, is what I'm saying.
No, it is not out of context. See, what he is saying is, at any state of Brahman, see, honestly speaking, Jnani is the only state which is the usable state, right? Ajnani state is not usable to whether you are an Advaita or Advaita or Vishtadvaita or even an atheist. In the Jnani state, Triputi Laya has to happen in Advaita. And what Madhvācārya is saying, that Triputi Laya is not acceptable. It is not justifiable. That logic is flawed.
The Triputi Laya cannot be answered through logic. You cannot answer through everything by talking. You cannot convince by your talk.
Yeah.
Realization is apart from your talk.
That is true.
Every talk ends there. Triputi Laya, even Shankaracharya accepts. When Triputi Laya happens, then only realization happens.
Yeah.
What
Madhvācārya is saying is, this Triputi Laya is not explicable through any Pramāṇa. The Pramāṇa is like Śāstra. Śāstra Pramāṇa doesn't allow you to accept this state. That is what he is saying. There is no state
can be justifiable by talking. It cannot be acceptable by reason. But we have to reach it, that's all. When you reach it, there is no talk. Everything ends there.
Yes.
It's an utter silence after you realize.
Yes. See, the thing is, what Madhvācārya says is, if at all that state exists, that is not the highest state. That's what everybody comes, all of Advaitins and Vishishtadvaitins, they are coming to the same point, right? Shankaracharya says the highest level is Triputi Laya, where there is no known or means of knowing or knower. And that is realization. And that is not acceptable to Madhvācārya. where there is an object. They even in moksha, in Vaikuntha, there are experiences, and there is an experiencer, and there is the Lord who manages everything. This is what Madhvācārya is driving towards, right? That's all the logic is.
How can one tell that there is knowledge, there is experience there is some things to you enjoy? How can you explain that when you are living with all the senses?
No. That is why I tell you one thing. There should be a bridge between here and Vaikuntha, right? Right? Without that bridge, we cannot talk about Vaikuntha from here. How can we talk about Vaikuntha from here? It is like talking, explaining what is the wake state, sitting in a dream or sleeping in a dream, right? If you are dreaming, you cannot explain what the wake state is. So from here in the bound state, you cannot explain what Vaikuntha is like, right? The only way you can explain in this state is if there is a valid means of knowledge. What is that valid means of knowledge? Is Vedas. According to Veda Pramāṇa, Madhvācārya shows there are thousands of hundreds of slokas I will tell you from different Shrutis that Vaikuntha is there, Sada Pashyanti Surayaha is there. So the thing is, I will tell you there is object there is everything, and I will give you Shrutis. If you don't accept my Shrutis, you go your way, I go my way. See, this is all about, simple logic here Madhvācārya uses, okay? If you say, this is my Anubhava, this is Advaita, end of it. Madhvācārya says, you are welcome. Enjoy your Advaita Anubhava and go get away. Don't ever say that Veda supports you. You leave this table, you get out of here, and you say, you are an Advaiti, I am experiencing Brahman, Triputilaya and everything. Be what you have. Do it. But you cannot say Veda support you. That's all he's saying. So if you come, what is the common ground between Advaiti, Dvaiti, Vishtadvaiti, this Dvaiti, that Dvaiti, Shuddhadvaiti and all? The common ground is Śāstras, right? So Anubhava is beyond Śāstras, so Śāstras throw away. Fine, then why do you need Śāstra? Why do you need Śāstra? Śāstra is also part of Maya. Throw it.
We need Shastra to have Anubhava, the real knowledge, real Anubhava.
Then if Śāstras are telling Asti Brahmeti Chet Veda and all these attributes, you better accept attributes. You better accept Vaikuntha as knowable. Because it's telling you all over the place that Nirguna term doesn't come more than in 3 places in the entire Vedas. So everything is Saguṇa only. Even the highest state is explained as Saguṇa. Tatte Kalyana Tamam Rupam Pashyami is in the Ishavasya. I am seeing the divine form of yours. Even that is Maya, because there is Triputilaya and Triputilaya is not there. So what they are saying is, your Advaitic view is flawed. That's what Madhvācārya is trying to say. It is his logic. See, go ahead.
No, just like the way Madhvācārya is using Shastra Pramāṇa to prove his point. Of course, we have to accept even Shankaracharya will use the same Shastra to prove his point.
Eventually, we will see what Shankaracharya says. But Madhvācārya is giving the last word because he came after Shankaracharya. Some of the questions Shankaracharya didn't hear because he was gone somewhere else. So, Madhvācārya came later, right?
Yeah, it's a discussion about how we say it, so basically, because the Anubhava cannot be shared anyway. Whether there is a triput.
See, these are all what do you call? See, one thing I tell you, I sometimes feel very awkward saying that I'm confusing everybody. On one time I will support Madhvācārya 100% because I'm studying Madhva Bhashya. I will justify him at any cost. If I'm studying Advaita, I'll try to justify Shankaracharya at any cost. And if I'm studying Ramanuja.org, I will justify Ramanuja.org. What is going to happen to the person who is listening on the other end? Poor guy. Or poor lady sitting there. They'll be confused. Krishna is confused. He doesn't understand either of you. He has made me like a stupid person now. I don't know what to follow. I don't know whether to go this way, that way. I have no idea what philosophy is. I'm going to give up all the philosophies and can happily rest. So this may occur to some people.
If
You have
someone
to-
if someone
Well,
joins
anyway,
you new, if someone joins you new, that's how they will feel. But once they know you, they probably will laugh at it.
See, what
Anyway,
you have to think is your confusion is very important. You have to be confused. Truly. Because you will find a way out of confusion. Because you will not sleep if you are confused. So, when will you get tenacity in your thinking, conviction in your thinking, when your confusion goes away? Let it go a couple of years later. Why should it go today? Think. Only when everyone should think and learn. Jiddu Krishnamurti once very clearly says, no, somebody from the audience says, Shankaracharya said there is Lord, Brahman exists, and Brahman is merciful. And Madhvācārya said, Ramanuja.org said, Brahman is merciful, Brahman is there. Jiddu Krishnamurti said, why are you worried about Shankaracharya, Ramanuja, Madhvācārya? What do you think? If you have to realize Brahman, it occurs within in your own mind and brain. The Gayatri Mantrartha Pratipurusham, I will tell you, in Adhikarana Saravadi, Vedāntic summarizes Gayatri Mantra for public, and this struggle and path is individualistic. Every one of us should understand, get rid of our doubts, and attain the highest. So it's an individual path. Even if it is hard, take what is there in the class, go and think. Come back and think. Pariprashnena sevaya. I am not a jnani, don't come to me. Go find a jnani and you find out the true knowledge. And there will be no conflict after some point because you will directly realize true knowledge. That is why realization is very important. Anyway, this is getting a little longer. Oh my God, today is Saturday. I'm okay because otherwise I will conflict with Alvar's class. So now we have to stop. Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Parama Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Sarva Gurubhyo Namaha, Shri Krishna Parabrahmane Namaha, Shri Lakshmi Nrsimha Parabrahmane Namaha, Shri Lakshmi Bhayavadana Parabrahmane Namaha, Shri Krishna Parabrahmane.
He was also asked once, what do you think of Buddha? He says, I don't.
Who asked it?
Jiddu Krishnamurti was asked, what do you think of Buddha?
Yeah.
He says, I don't think of Buddha.